Hey, all you savages and savagettes! Steele Savage Radio proudly presents every Tuesday, the hottest show on Tuesdays, the Tuesday Rewind. Tuesday Rewind. With the pastor, Robi Reklezz. Every hour, we're giving you the most, the baddest underground heavy metal scene in the industry. Pastor Robi Reklezz, every hour attack, every Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on the station that rocks the nation, Steele Savage Radio. StarLive.com, WKAW.com, Brand Radio Rock, 9.3 FM, April.
Hey, we're back live, living and breathing, the one, the only, the reckless one coming at you right here on Steele Savage Radio tonight, ladies and gentlemen. As promised, I have on the phone with me Kevin Jones from the band Stepchild. He's a native born and bred out of California. What's up, Kevin?
What's going down, Robbie?
Hey,
Thanks for having me on the air.
No problem, brother. We just kicking these motherfuckers' ass tonight. How you been, dude?
I've been great. I'm super excited. I'm in the studio after this interview tonight, singing vocals for the new Stepchild album, and the new album sounds fierce, and so I'm super excited. I'm doing that tonight after we get done.
Cool, man. Cool, man. So, hey, let me ask you a question now. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, and you know the weather up here sucks. So how's the weather out there in Cali right now?
It hit the hottest day of the year yesterday here. It's been actually kind of overcast this last week. Yesterday it was almost 100 degrees. I live in Laguna Beach, California, and I've got a beautiful house. I got blessed with a beautiful house. I've got an ocean view of Laguna Main Beach that I'm looking at right now as we speak, and I have a recording studio at my house. And so I have an ocean view from my recording studio, and I'm freaking stoked, bro.
Dude, that sounds like a fucking dream come true, man. You're living.
It is, man.
You're living in paradise, my man.
I'm really fortunate and really stoked, and I'm really super excited about the new Stepchild album.
Hell yeah! So what's going on with Stepchild? You guys in the studio?
Stepchild is in the studio recording, re-recording some of our old songs and recording brand new songs. And the thing that we got blessed with is about a year ago, we got introduced to a guitar player named Nick Ruiz. And one of the things that was going on with Stepchild is we just couldn't find the right guitar player to join our band. We lost the leader of our band, Scott Griffith, in 2003 in the Station nightclub fire in Rhode Island. And at that point, the band was broken up. We ended up putting the band back together right after Scott lost his life in that at the Great White Concert Fire, which was absolutely tragic. Yeah. We were just heartbroken. And Scott Griffith has a daughter named Casey. She was very young at the time of this, obviously, back in 2003. So she was roughly, I want to say, like 14 years old. So what we did is we put Stepchild back together, which had disbanded in 1993. We put Stepchild back together to do a few benefit shows for Casey. And we ended up keeping the band together all these years because we just loved the music and we loved the songs. And so we just kept the train going, and we've been out there playing all this time, but we never were able to find the right guitar player. And Nick Ruiz, our new guitarist, this guy is just a madman guitar player. Our new sound and our new band is heavier than it's ever been. He has more of a signature style. All the great guitar players in the world, whether it's, Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, George Lynch, the great guitar players of the world, Doug Aldrich, etc., all the great metal guitar players. In the world, they all have their own signature sound, and we found that in Nick. And so I've got Nick Ruiz on guitar, and I've got a mad, just a kick-ass drummer in Billy Cannon Eccleberry, which is a well-known drummer here in California. He plays with a lot of people, but his mainstay is Stepchild. And then I've got a bass player by the name of Danibus Devious, which is just a monster bass player. And we are the new Stepchild, and we're recording a new album.
Well, hey, man, what you guys are doing out there is great, man. I mean, that's fantastic. But it sounds like you guys got a complete package going on. with Stepchild.
We really do. Our next show is July 27th at Crew Fest 2019, which is at the Whiskey A Go Go in Hollywood, and that's on July 27th. And that is a Crew Fest that's been it's the 19th year they've had it, and that's part of it's like the people putting it on have kind of partnered with the Skylar Neal Foundation, the foundation that was put together when Vince's daughter passed away from cancer. And so we're really excited to do that show at Crew Fest July 27th at the Whiskey in Hollywood. That's our next show. And right now we're just concentrating on finishing this new record. I tried, our single that's coming out is called Fire in the Basement, and I actually tried to pull it together to have it completed prior to your show tonight, because I really wanted to unveil our new sound, because it's going to blow people away, how heavy we are, how the new sound of the band, but we're just not ready to release it yet. But I would say in about 3 to 4 weeks we'll have our first single to release.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get it over to us and we'll definitely get you guys in the air, man. We'll get you guys playing right here on Steele Savage Radio, no doubt, no doubt, no doubt. So
I would appreciate that. I love your radio station. It's a kick-ass station.
Hey, man, we do it for guys, the underground metal scene, the rock and roll scene, guys like you that do good deeds out there in the world, man. It all comes back to you one way or another, So,
absolutely. Vince Neil's an old friend of mine, and so I'm really happy to be part of that show, and the foundation, and there's a great lineup of a bunch of great bands that are playing, and so we're really pumped about the show of Crew Fest this year.
So you guys, you're going into the studio after we get off the phone here, this interview. When can we expect a new album out from Stepchild?
I would say around the first of the year we'll release the album. So probably somewhere around Christmas or the 1st of January. There'll be a release date somewhere around then. That's about it, around the 1st of the year.
Okay, that's cool. But
we will be releasing a single in about a month from now called Fire in the Basement.
But in the meantime, you guys are still going to be doing gigs here and there?
Yeah, we're not doing that many shows because we're concentrating on recording the new album right now. But the next show is July 27th at the Whiskey.
All right, well, that's great, man. So when you guys perform live, I've seen the videos, and you on stage, you're a master. You just command the audience. Now, what gives you that energy to do that, man? I mean, you are spectacular on stage. If you guys haven't seen him, Kevin Jones from Stepchild, check out the video. You guys will be thoroughly impressed, because I know I was. I mean, what drives you to do that kind of shit, man?
I was born into it. I mean, I knew that I was going to be a guitar player and a singer by the age of 4 or 5 years old. And,
cool.
I already knew, when I was a kid, my parents took me to church, and, I'd be standing there just singing, at the top of my lungs, when I was just a kid. And one of our best friends of my family, they had a teenage son that had a guitar, and we were always hanging out with them. My parents' best friends had a guitar in the house, and I was literally, 5 years old, and I would run to this room. Underneath the bed was this guitar. I'd pull it out. I'd get that thing out. And even though I wasn't even, old enough to, actually carry the guitar or get it out the case, I would just sit there and strum it. I was in love with guitars, in love with music from the day I was born. And so it's my passion. It's the thing that I've been doing since I was a kid.
So it's running through your veins, man, just like rock and roll?
Just absolutely running through my veins since I was born.
Hell yeah, man. That's what makes you a superstar, which you are one of them for sure. Now, you guys said this album's going to be a little heavier than the previous Stepchild. Tell us how much heavier you think it's going to be.
Quite a bit heavier. I mean, we're Stepchild, the old Stepchild, the stuff that you're going to be sharing with your audience tonight, was recorded quite a few years ago, and we were more of a hard rock band. And with bringing Nick Ruiz in on guitar, he's a metal guitar player, and so it's driven me to sing, a little bit heavier, and the band is heavier, the drums are heavier, the bass is heavier, the guitars are heavier, and the vocals are heavier. So we're definitely, I think some people are going to be really blown away by actually how heavy the band is when we come out with the new album.
Well, I've done a couple interviews, and I've always said when you're in a band, it's like a marriage. And when you meet that right person, it just feels right. So you're talking about Nick and the drummer and all them guys in the band. How did you guys actually hook up to get together?
Well, we went through a couple different guitar changes, and we were just trying to find the right person. And I meant no disrespect out of the people that have joined me, along the way and played in the band with me. And it's no ditch on them by any means, So I have nothing but mad respect for the people that have got me, through these years and doing the shows that we had. But I was just looking for that one guy, and we kept auditioning people and playing with people, and I just kind of get that guy. And I found that guy in Nick, and it just completely changed the face and the sound of the band. And so I've always loved Stepchild. I love our songs, but like the guitar rhythms and the new music that Nick's bringing into the fold is it's just freaking incredible. The guy is just a freaking madman guitar player with his own signature style, his own signature sound. And that video that I emailed you of us playing at the House of Blues, Steel Panther, some dear friends of ours, we opened for them January 18th in front of 2,500 people, House of Blues Anaheim. And Nick went out on stage and just blew the roof off that place, man. Just blew the roof off the place.
Now you've
seen that video.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Now that was a kick-ass video. Again, for you people listening, you haven't seen it, go check these guys out, man.
You go to youtube.com and you punch in Stepchild Sin City. We did a cover of Sin City by AC/DC, and I'm really proud of it. I think it's a kick-ass video.
Again, like I said, I seen that video, and the way you commanded the audience was just spectacular in my point of view, But
thanks, Robbie. Robbie.
I mean, what drives you to get up there and call these motherfuckers out the way you do and say, hey, and you just bring them up on their feet and they come to life, man? What is it about you? You got this kind of charm. I don't know. How do you explain it?
The whole thing is that, us people that love metal music and love rock and roll and love music in general, we love to listen to music, and it changes our lives. It's brought peace to the world. It's the great savior of the world in so many ways, because music is the great communicator. It's a universal language. And when you get a crowd in front of you, if I go see a band, even if they're a great band, but they're kind of lackadaisical, my history, of the band that I love, when I would go see Black Sabbath, or I would go see Rob Halford and Judas Priest, or some of the great bands of rock and roll, when you go and you're standing in the audience and the singer is just on fire and he's rising the people up and he's getting that energy going and he's like, come on, man, and he's just got this raw energy. And so that's what I always try to do, is bring as much energy in the room as I can possibly get. And that's why I'm so passionate about it, is because I want the people, after they see Stepchild play, when they're driving home, to go, man, those guys freaking kicked ass left, tonight. That was freaking killer. Right. And so I just try to go, I give it 150% every time I go on stage, dude, every show.
You just answered my next question, because my next question was going to be, what do you want the audience to walk away after they see Stepchild? And I think you just answered that, which, by the way, was a fucking killer answer, man. So hell yeah to you guys. Stepchild, man. Fuck yeah, dude. You fucking guys kill it, man. No doubt, no doubt. All right.
There's no other band that sounds like Stepchild. That's one of the things, is that even though, we're not like too fancy about like what we do, and not that it's generic, but we are meat and potatoes, metal, rock and roll, and we don't try to overthink it. We just try to be heavy and have a message and freaking rock. And one of the things that I love about our band is that I don't believe that there's another band that sounds like us. And so I want those people to see that we gave it everything we had. We kicked us on stage. We had great songs, and that they remember us as they're driving home, and they remember us the next day. They're like, that was a great show last night. That's what I try to pull off every time I go on stage.
Right. Well, you and I, we're probably from the same era, the 80s, that kind of thing, the 90s, and, going up to today's date. But
90s metal.
In my opinion, the 80s just fucking kicked ass, no doubt about it. But I'm from that decade, so that would, that's why I would say that, because that's when I grew up in there. But nowadays in California, what's the metal scene like in your opinion?
Well, the metal scene, as far as the bands out there, there's a lot of great bands and there's a lot of great talent. And, it's been like a catch-22. Back in the day, back in the 90s, Stepchild had all the major labels looking at us, and everybody was chasing that elusive record deal, and trying to get on the radio. So the thing is that the record company and the record industry is gone, but when the internet came in, that gave you the opportunity, like put it this way, okay? These bands that can put a song out that's a great song and have people download it, they make more money promoting their own music and selling their own music, you know, or even just through international marketing because of the internet. They could make more money at a better living than if they had a record deal back in the day, because I have a lot of friends in the industry. I could drop names that I don't need to right now because I'm not going to do that, but I can tell you this much. A lot of these rock stars from the 90s are personal friends of mine, and they got completely screwed on the financial side of it. So they're touring around the world, they're a household name, they're full-blown rock stars, and they get home from a year tour of working their ass off, and they don't have a pot to piss in financially, and that's not cool. So my answer to that is that it's a really exciting time. There's good and bad. One of the things that kind of sucks about what's going on here in California is that they took our metal station away from us, our main station on FM, KNEC Radio, years ago, which was a kick-ass metal station that used to play Stepchild. And the other thing that's going on is a lot of the big main venues that had rock and roll and metal shows have closed down. But we still have some really killer places to play down here, but just not as many as we used to.
Well, again, you just answered my next question. I was going to ask you, you know, what do you think about internet radio compared to FM radio? And I think you just said it loud and proud, man, right?
Absolutely, and what I'd like to see is I would like to see, you know, some of these FM radio stations take notice and take a radio station like Steele, you know, I would like to see some of the radio stations like your radio station actually get a full-blown FM station that would put you on the air as well. Because I'll tell you something, down here in California, if you get in your car and you start rolling the dial on the FM radio station, there's no freaking good stations anymore.
Well, I can tell you we're close to doing that, but the only problem is on my show, there's no swearing on FM radio, you know, and this internet radio is uncensored. So we can pretty much fucking say what we want like we're fucking doing now. So fuck all you FM stations out there.
Well, you know, that's one of the things that's also beautiful about the internet situation, and you just, you know, nailed it, is that it also gives you the freedom to be able to talk and say whatever you want to say. Absolutely. And not be regulated by Big Brother. Yeah,
you're not controlled. You know, we can say what we want, we can do what we want, we can play what we want. And
that sounds kind of like metal and rock and roll, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, metal and rock and roll, we're all one big fucking family here, you know.
That's it. We are.
And people need to understand that. You people out there that are haters for the music that we play, if you don't like it, don't listen. If you like it, love it, man, because we do it out of the passion of our hearts. We don't do it for money, for anything else. We do it for the love of heavy metal and rock and roll. You know, so that's why Steele Savage Radio is doing what we do right here. And a big shout out.
Savage Radio kicks ass. And if you don't mind, I'd like to mention something, Robbie, is that the way that I was introduced to you, we have a new promoter. Her name is Christina Avila.
Oh, yeah.
So absolutely. you interviewed her 2 weeks ago.
Yes, sir.
And she has just been a blessing in the life of the new Stepchild band. And she's on the East Coast. And she's just a great woman, and I enjoyed the radio interview that you had with her. And then she opened the door for me to speak with you and to have this interview tonight. And so our East Coast promoter, Christina Avila, we want to give a shout out to her and thank her for opening the door. She's been blowing doors open for Stepchild. There's a lot of things that I'm not even going to mention right now, but I can tell you this, that as having Christina Avila as our East Coast promoter is blowing some doors open for people that want to work with us, people that are interested in booking us, people that want to bring us to the East Coast to do concerts, and she has just been an absolute freaking blessing for Stepchild. So shout out to Christina.
Thank you, Christina. Fuck yeah, you're absolutely right, man. I couldn't have said that no better myself, man. Kevin, fantastic job. Christina rocks, man. She turned me on to you guys, and she does one hell of a job out there on the East Coast, man. And
she's a great, genuine person, and you know,
she's for real.
They're few and far between, it seems like, in today's world. And we just got blessed by the best East Coast promoter on the face of the planet. And so we're going to be doing some great things together. And she's going to be, you know, when Stepchild gets rewarded with the things that we're shooting for, she's going to be part of the family. She already is part of the family.
Yeah, I mean, she's great. She's true. She's real people. She tells you like it is, and she works her ass off of what she does. You know, she's like everybody else we do. I know you work full-time. I work, you know, full-time. She works full-time. We do this as a passion, man. So she is really, really devoted to you guys for sure.
Absolutely, and I got to tell you, she's got bands coming out of the woodwork that are trying to get her to represent them now since she started working with us and some of the other great bands that she works with. And she works her ass off for people, and and she does it out of her passion and love for music, and she's just a good person.
For sure, man. Hey, so far, man, it's been a kick-ass interview. We're going to play a couple songs. Are you going to come back and chat with me a little bit more?
Thanks, Robbie. I appreciate it a lot.
All right, brother. Hang tight. Now, we got Kevin Jones from Stepchild. We're going to give you guys a little taste of what he's been talking about here in the last couple of minutes. Stepchild rules, man. Fuck yeah. All right, guys, we got 2 songs coming up for you right now. The first one is Piece of You. The second one of you is Cruel World. So, from me, from Kevin Jones, Steele Savage Radio. Crank this son of a bitch up.
Crank that shit up.
We are un-motherfucking censored.
I'm on the prowl, just can't take your schoolgirl smile. Down on my knees, I'm climbing your wall. I know I'll get you home before the morning falls. I want your love, need your affection, falling face down, right in your direction. I can't let you go, I'll never set you free. Good God, I've gotta get you, you're everything I need. Tease me all night long, and then you left me alone. I'm giving you the squeeze, I'm never letting it go. My blood pressure's rising, I gotta get a piece of you. Slow, yeah, I gotta get a piece of you. Out for the kill, gonna fire at will. It's time to let your love spill. Down on my knees, I'm climbing your walls. I'll try to get you home before the morning falls. Tease me all night long, and then you left me alone. I'm giving you the squeeze and never letting go. My blood pressure's rising, I gotta get a piece of you. Gonna do you slow and rude, I gotta get a piece of you. Oh, you know that I went to the doctor, he told me get a piece of you. Slow and rude, yeah, I gotta get a piece of you.
Hey, yeah, I'm back. Live, living and breathing. The one, the only, the reckless one coming at you right here on Steele Savage Radio. Oh, yeah, I am pumped up, ladies and gentlemen. This has been a fucking rocking show, man. Kick fucking ass show tonight. And as promised, like I said, on the phone lines we have Kevin Jones, the one, the only from Stepchild. Plus that special guest I was talking about earlier. He is the one, the only. Who is it?
It's the notorious, Mr. Rebellious, the man of the hour. Cheers! With his head now around the body, still coming in loud and proud on the station that rocks the motherfucking nation. Still Savage Radio. Now we're around with Bobby Steele. What's going on, guys?
Bobby Steele, what's up?
What's going on, man? It sounds like you are kicking some ass with those past two songs there, man. Hell fucking yeah.
Thanks, man. And Steele Savage Radio kicks ass. So thank you, Bobby Steele, for having us on.
Hell yeah, man. It was great to see you and Robbie go back and forth here. But I think what a lot of us want to know here is being out there in L.A. there, we want to know how many panties get thrown at you every time you go on stage, brother. Because every time Robbie goes on stage, he gets boxers thrown at him.
Yeah, I heard that, man.
The Navajo Rambo Bobby Steele is back.
It's just part of the scene.
For sure, man. Hey, you know what? Growing up there as a kid there, man, you know, for me, growing up on the reservation, we only had a handful of bands that we listened to. You know, growing up, such as like Motley Crue, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, and Metallica. You know, those were just only the few that were able to get around on the reservation there. Growing up, who did you listen to?
Judas Priest, Black Sabbath. You know, Black Sabbath was my big influence. Obviously, well, not obviously, but the Beatles were a huge influence on me as a kid. And so, one of the things that like my parents used to tell me is like when we were little kids, my dad freaking loved to fish. My dad was from Colorado. We were in California. And he missed home. And so my parents used to tell me that when we were on vacation, I would be in the back of the car and they'd have the radio going on, and they would be blown away because I'd know the lyrics to like every freaking song in the radio. And they're like, oh my God, how the hell does he know that many songs? Because I listened to the radio. I had a little AM radio in my bedroom, and I sang with that thing my whole childhood. And like all those old songs, the Motown songs, the rock and roll songs of, you know, when I was a kid. And so I just love freaking music. I love music.
That was like me growing on the reservation there. So I had a very, very strong Navajo accent. And you know, when I would talk with people other than Navajo people, this accent would come out really hard and strong. So a lot of people really couldn't understand me. So when I moved to the actual city there, I couldn't believe you can just go down the street and watch a movie or get a hamburger instead of driving like 2 hours, you know? So I was watching, every time I watched a movie, I would memorize these lines, you know, and I would say them over to myself. And then rap songs. And that's how I kind of lost my Navajo accent. And then, but, you know, of course, if we get around family, you know, it definitely comes back. So,
well, you know, hey, Bobby,
some of those Indian bars are gnarly places. And years ago, a friend of mine asked me to do a gig doing like a top 40 thing, which I don't do, but it was a buddy of mine. He's like, dude, just do a couple shows in Arizona with us. And so we played on this reservation, right? And we get up on stage, and I'm also a guitar player, right? Well, right as we're getting ready to start playing, and they've been waiting for us to play, the place is packed with freaking drunken Indians, pissed off because they're fucking waiting for us to play. Waiting for us to play, and I have no idea what's going on, but my amp does not work. Okay, my amp will not freaking work. So long story long, the reason I brought this up is because if we didn't start playing, we ended up, it was a blown fuse, and I was able to replace it and start playing, but I swear to God, I thought these people were going to freaking lynch my ass.
Hell yeah, dude.
So we made it going. Oh, man. And so, so this was like on an Indian reservation at an Indian reservation bar, and these people were freaking loaded, and they wanted the metal, they wanted the music, and by the grace of God, I was able to get that amp going. We ended up having a killer show. But you made me think of that when you said your story, bro.
Hell yeah, you know, because, you know, that's the thing about Native Americans is this year is, you know what, the 80s was a symbolization for a lot of Native Americans because that's when the hair metal came out. Any type of metal came out, you know, and going up the reservation, if you live way back in the hills or back in the woods or back in the deep country area, you know, the only places that could get back there were cassette tapes. And that was because when somebody would go to town, they would come back and they would record it, and there would already be like maybe 15 or 20 trucks outside. Everybody would have their tape ready to record. So when somebody would buy the new tape, you know, by in a week there, that tape was already done. It gets chewed up because, you know, everybody's recording it. So that's how we would get around out there. That's how the music got around.
Everybody was making the copies of that that shit. Let me get a copy of that, bro.
Exactly. And we're not talking about the cool looking tape that were clear. We're talking about the ones that were white and the ones that were black with the blue labels on their stickers. Remember the whole shit?
That's classic shit, bro.
Hell yeah, dude. And then, nobody can spell, so it would just have like a big M on there, a big for Motley Crue MC and shit like that there, man. So when are you guys heading out to New Mexico? Because that's where I'm located at there.
Is that right? Is that where you are, man?
Yeah. Outside of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
You know, one thing that we are definitely looking to do when we finish this new Stepchild album is we want to do some major shows, and we've been really trying to be selective, and we get a lot of offers to play smaller venues, and it's not just because we think we're like too good or whatever, but the thing is man, once you play a huge stage through a huge PA system, and then you go play at a small stage, you're like, oh my God. So my answer is this. Stepchild, for anybody listening out there, okay, that digs Stepchild, we are looking, I want to do festivals. I want to do big, huge festivals. You know what I mean? And so if there's a badass festival with a big stage and a big PA, and we don't care about the money side of it, but if we can get to that stage in New Mexico and freaking play and be able to get back home.
So basically you want double D's instead of C's, right?
That's it. That's it.
Like, that's me right there, man. Once I'm at double D's, I can't go back. I can't go anywhere.
But yeah, so I just wanted to share with you that if anybody has festivals out there, if you have a festival in New Mexico and we can actually get there and play and get back home with $5 in our pockets or freaking broke.
Yeah, they're always trying to get something going on over here for sure.
We'll play anywhere.
Hell yeah. They're trying, because right now they have the casinos actually out here right now. They're starting to get amphitheaters, and there's a racetrack down in Las Cruces area. It's a dirt track, and they're building an amphitheater down there too as well. There, so there's definitely a lot of growing places that are going on in New Mexico here right now, as far as like big concert goes there. So yeah, we'll definitely have to be in touch with them because I like the double D.
I'll continue to visit with. I'll pack my Stepchild boys up, and we'll come out there and blow the freaking.
We'll take you back to the reservation there. We'll get you definitely.
Old school on you home.
Hell yeah! We'll definitely do it up there for sure, man. So with this new sound that you guys coming out here right now, that the last two songs you guys played there. Now, are you guys looking to maybe go more the double bass type of beat there with a heavier lower tune guitar there, or a higher tune?
That's funny that you mentioned that, because the new material that Nick Ruiz, our new guitar player, has been submitting to the band is so killer, and he has these programs, and he has a buddy that also ships him drum tracks, okay? And then he actually starts writing guitar parts on top of the drums. So, like, he's got this badass, crazy drummer. I don't even know who the dude is, but he's sending him this double bass, freaking killer, insane metal double bass drum, okay?
Yeah.
And then he's putting the freaking drums on, and he's playing his guitar to it, and then he's throwing a bass on it. Then he's sending it over to us via email. Okay, and then I'm getting these emails from him, and the songs are absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah, we're not really doing that much drop tuning at this point. We'll probably do some drop D tuning, but as far as the velocity, the speed, the up tempo of the songs, and the metal double kick type stuff, some of our new Stepchild material is definitely going to have that flavor for sure.
Fuck yeah! Now what about voice care? Because you know what, I was very fortunate one time to sing in a band for 2 songs.
Nice.
And the thing about it was this year is I didn't know how to sing. I didn't know how to do. I didn't have no warm-ups, nothing like that there. And I know how easy it is to kind of almost blow out your voice there. But what exercises can you do that you can let our audience know out there? Because there's a lot of people that are listening and tuning in right now. And I know there's a lot of aspiring singers out there right now.
You know, there was a lady that back in the early days of Stepchild that we got to go and hang out with, and she had worked with Guns N' Roses and Axl Rose, and she passed away. She was going till she was like 80 years old, okay? Literally until she was 80, and she was in L.A., and her name was Elizabeth Sabine. And so my manager back in the day, he called me up and he goes, listen, man, I'm bringing you guys in. We're going to meet with this Elizabeth Sabine lady. And she was freaking legendary, okay? So we go in there, and we meet with this lady, and she starts showing us all these different exercises exercises. One of the things that she taught me is that when you're doing scales to warm your voice up, you know how you're like trying to do the scale and get your voice higher? What I found out is that when you go lower in your voice, your vocal cords stretch exactly the same as going to the high note. So if you do and you go lower, your vocal cords are stretching basically the same way. The other thing that she taught us is she's like, Kevin, have you ever noticed like a little baby that's like 2 pounds, 3 ounces can scream bloody murder every day of its life, and you can hear it 5 houses away from your house every day of your life for a freaking year, and you're like, oh my God. So does that baby ever lose its voice? Our whole life we're told, shh, be quiet.
Yeah.
Okay? So my answer to this is this. I get on stage and I scream bloody freaking murder, okay? I don't worry about my voice, and maybe that's why I lost some of it, or it got raspy, or I don't have the high end that I used to have, or whatever, but I've always screamed my ass off since I was a kid. I also say I'm not just a screamer, I can sing, but, you know, the long story long of what, you know, I'm sharing with you about what you just asked me is that the thing is that I definitely have noticed if I just warm my voice up a little and I sing before I go on stage that I'm warmer. But also another thing is that I sing from the diaphragm, which is important, okay? And then on top of that, I just basically let loose and I hold nothing back.
Awesome, hell yeah, you know, because you know you see a lot of these singers they do scale warm-ups and stuff like that there. But you know, I honestly thought you were gonna do the whole rock star thing, you know, eating a lot of pussy.
A lot of guys do. That also helps. I mean, that's also super important.
That's a definite must there, I think, right?
Because that coats your throat before you go on stage.
For sure. So hey, what's your guilty pleasure listening to other music besides metal there?
I love the Beatles because of, you know, I really feel, you know, one of the things like Ronnie James Dio was a dear friend of mine. I miss him every day. You know, he was going to produce my solo album. He was a dear friend of mine. And you know, if you look, one of the things that I've been noticing is that I listen to the Beatles a lot. And if you listen to Paul McCartney on all those Beatle records, when Paul goes to his high rasp like Helter Skelter and songs like that, and he's pumping it out, you can literally hear where Ronnie Dio and some of these other rock and roll singers definitely got some shit from the Beatles from Paul McCartney. I think he was the originator of the guy that kind of took that Little Richard scream, the Little Richard howl to the next level. And so I think there's some nods, you know, from the metal crowd to go to Paul McCartney. I really do.
That's awesome. You know, now I got to listen to the Beatles.
Next time you listen to McCartney, listen to some of the shit that he did with his voice and be like, oh my God, that's so freaking metal.
Yeah, I got you. Now, Little Richard, we play him on the show all the time. Because, you know, he still doesn't get enough credit, you know? And the guy that rocks down, he's fucking badass.
Absolutely.
He always gets you pumped up for sure there.
Hey,
Bobby, you mean take over your show here, brother?
Hey, Bobby.
I tore down my fence here.
Now listen.
I was trying to come in. And I tore down my fence. The wind blew it, and it got caught on my tailgate, and I ripped the motherfucker out here. So, but you guys, I gotta go. Hey, Kevin, it was awesome fucking talking to you here. I gotta get Spence back up. I got my dogs are running around loose out here right now, and there's a lot of rabbits there.
You're killing me, dude. You're cracking me up. Bobby Steele Savage Radio.
Hell yeah!
All right, there you go, man.
We're going to get you on the Afternoon Hangover on our show coming up here. I think I'll be starting going back live here in a couple of weeks here. We'll definitely get you back on there, and we'll rock and roll the motherfucking house.
Yeah.
I'd like to get that and get me a huge festival in New Mexico and Stepchild to come and blow the freaking roof off that place.
Hell yes, 36 Double D Festival. You guys heard it here.
You heard it here first.
Hey, Bobby, I had to go.
All right, brother.
Kevin, good talk to you. We'll talk later, guys.
All right, man.
Later, Bobby.
Later. Hey, Kevin, you still there?
Yeah, Robbie, what happened to your show, bro?
Oh, man, I love when he comes on the show,
super
man. I just sit back and have a shot and a drink of Bud Light, man, and I just let him go like a maniac, man. It's always a kick-ass time with him.
There you go.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of Ronnie James Dio and what you guys were talking about earlier, Christina sent me over a bio about you. And
Christina Avila, our East Coast promoter.
Yes. And from what I'm seeing here, there's a lot of bands that consider you being their lead singer. Is that true?
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre what happened when Stepchild broke apart, which was unfortunate, and we had Doc McGee that was going to manage us, that was single-handedly managing the Scorpions, Motley Crue, Bon Jovi, and Skid Row. He was actually so buried in trying to manage those 4 bands at the same time, but he was entertaining working with us. We had the labels looking at us. It just kind of fell apart for us, to be honest, and it was kind of freaking bizarre. But about 3 days after Stepchild broke apart in the early 90s, I got a phone call from a dude from down here in LA from Bad Magazine by the name of John Sutherland, and he called me up on a Friday night, and he was like, "Hey man, how's Stepchild doing?" I was like, "Dude, we freaking broke up like 3 days ago." He goes, "Well, I just got off the phone with KK Downing in Judas Priest, and Rob has quit the band and took the drummer with him when he left, and they're auditioning singers." And he goes, "I got to tell you," and he goes, "Dude, I got mad respect for you, Kevin," but he goes, "There's a lot of great singers in LA, and when I was on the phone with KK, for whatever reason, you were the first person that came to my mind." And so what ended up happening is I ended up, it was a 2.5-year process. I beat out 2,000 people down to 6 people to sing for Judas Priest. And out of 6 people that were left out of thousands, none of us 6 ended up getting the audition, because when they found Tim Owens, which is freaking, he kicked ass. I mean, you got to hand it to that guy.
Yeah,
he did a great job, and he deserved it.
Yeah, he's from Ohio.
A bunch of different bands that found out, through the grapevine, and I had a couple people kind of promoting me and kind of managing me, Todd Cashman from Cashman Enterprises and some other people. And so I had a bunch of bands look at me back in the 90s.
Well, I'm going to blow your own whistle right here, because I got a list here that she sent me over, and the band, a lot of the bands were Megadeth, Black Sabbath, Foghat, Sweet, Judas Priest is in that list, Genesis, Striper, Motley Crue, Slash's Snake Pit, Blind Melon, Van Halen. Can you speak about that a little bit?
Van Halen came through. I was in a band called Bad Boy Jones with a guy named Robi that had built a drop D tuner thing for a guitar, where on a guitar bridge you can drop it in the low E string, and it dropped it to a D, and you threw it back in at the base of the bridge with like a little push button, and it would pop you back from drop D tuning to drop B, and Eddie ended up behind that. And I found out that Sammy had left Van Halen, and I asked Robi, since I knew he was buddies with Eddie's guitar tech, if he could get a package in. Eddie actually kind of dug my voice, and I was supposed to go up and sing at his studio, and they ended up bringing on Gary Sharon from Extreme. Mm-hmm. And so I was also friends with Mike, not like buddies with Michael Anthony, but Michael Anthony was their bass player was an acquaintance of mine. And after they did the album with Gary Sharon, it totally bombed. The tour bombed, the album bombed. And I had a 76 Stingray Corvette, and I was at a place in Anaheim, California called Mike's Corvettes. I was sitting there waiting to get an estimate done for some work on my Corvette. And freaking Michael Anthony pulls in the most badass vet you've ever seen in your life. And I walked up to him. So I was up for the Van Halen thing, and they looked at me. I didn't get it the first time around. And then I saw Michael at this vet place, and I was like, "Hey, dude, when are you going to fire that hack singer of yours and give me a shot?" And he goes, "Kevin, I don't believe it, dude." He goes, "We fired him like 3 hours ago. Here's my freaking address. Here's my phone number. Here's my P.O. box." I sent him a package out of me singing and a bio and an 8x10. And the story that was told back to me through the guitar tech, back through Robi, was that he dug my voice so much that he drove from Newport Beach, from his parents' house, up to Malibu to Eddie's house. And when he walked in Eddie's house, because I had already got a CD into Eddie as well through the tech, Michael Anthony went to talk to Eddie about giving me a shot at auditioning. And when he walked into Eddie's studio, my voice was blaring through his freaking speakers at the 5150 studios up in Malibu at Eddie's house. And he's like, "Dude, I've got his CD right here." And what ended up happening is that they brought my voice to Warner Brothers and met with some people over there, and they said, "Listen, we want you to get Sammy or Dave back. We do not, we're not going to go down the road with you with an unknown singer, and we want you guys to get David Lee Roth or Sammy back. We're not looking for you guys. Your last album bombed, and we're not going to let you guys. We're not going to come to the table with an unknown singer." And they also said that some people had come out of the woodwork that were interested in trying to audition for Van Halen, David Coverdale from Whitesnake, some other different people that were huge household names in rock and roll.
They wanted a big name.
Were up for, that wanted the gig. And so I just didn't get it. At the end of the day, it just didn't happen.
Right.
But I was considered, and it was an honor.
Right. I dig it, man. I dig it. It's all about the dollar nowadays. I dig it. But also, you were in Velvet Revolver for a second. Is that true?
For about a minute, and it's kind of a cool story because Matt Sorum, the drummer of Guns N' Roses and the drummer of Velvet Revolver, I knew in high school and was a dear friend of mine. And that actually had no connection in me getting in there. But they were auditioning singers when Scott Weiland had left the band, whether he quit or got fired or whatever, all the stuff that Scott was going through. And so I actually, at that point, had a management company that I was working with that talked to their management. They sent me some songs. I recorded them. I sent them back. They were going to bring me in to start. They sent me a contract to sign. They were going to give me 30 days to audition for the band, to come in 30 days to come and sing and practice with the band, with no promises that I was the singer. But I did write and record a couple songs with them. I was supposed to go in and start singing for them, and I literally had signed a contract with their management company. And what ended up happening is during the course of that, Slash got a offer from a label to do a solo record, and that's when he ended Velvet Revolver. And he did that album with Chris Cornell and Fergie and his singer now, Miles Kennedy. And when he did that solo record where he has like 7 or 8 different singers on it, and Velvet Revolver was over. So it wasn't anything that I fell short on. It was just something that the band just ended.
I hear you. Yeah, that's just the way life goes, man. You take the good with the bad, the ups and the downs.
I have a recording of me singing with that band, which is badass.
Fuck
so
yeah,
I freaking love having that, and I listen to it now and then.
Hey, one quick question before we go. Where would you like to see Stepchild be in a year from now?
I would like to see Stepchild on a major tour, opening for a major act. And one of the things that, we've kind of dreamt about, and I don't know if it'll ever happen, but one of my best friends in the world, Michael Starr, the lead singer of Steel Panther, has been such a great friend. Some of my friends that made it in the industry really haven't had like an open hand to try to lift us up and help us. And this guy, Michael Starr from Steel Panther, is such a great friend of mine. I talk to him all the time. I called him up. I was like, hey, man, can we open a show for you? He's like, absolutely. So last year, we opened for Steel Panther at the House of Blues. We just opened for them again January 18th. And so I would love to do a tour with Steel Panther. I'd love to do, a tour opening for a major act and be the support act for them. And so I'm hoping big things for the band, bigger things than we've ever done. And I think that the new album is going to open doors for us to be worthy of getting considered to do something like that. And I'm hoping that that's what happens for us. I want to play huge stages all over the world. That's what I want.
Well, I think it's going to happen for you guys here real shortly, man, because like I said in the beginning of the interview, man, you command an audience and you bring them in and you get them pumped up and you get them rocking and rolling. You're a hell of a front man, brother. And, best wishes to you and Stepchild, and tell everybody where they can get your music and where they can find you guys at.
Yeah, so if you want to go onto YouTube, you can put in Kevin Jones Rocks, and you'll find my YouTube station, and there's all kinds of videos with Stepchild. There's like 9 videos. Then we have a Reverb Nation page, and it's Stepchild. It's ReverbNation.com, Stepchild with the number 6 after it. We are about to change the spelling of Stepchild instead of Stepchild into Stepchild, because there's another band that took the name Stepchild. We were around first, but, I should have held on to the rights to it. I didn't. I messed up, And another band came out, and they did like a rap metal album that I really didn't care that much for. I was kind of bummed that they put a record out with our name. And then there's another company that is a snowboard company called Stepchild with the same spelling. So one of the things that people will see on the new album is that we've changed the spelling with a Y instead of an I. And so there's going to be a Stepchild.com website coming out in about a month from now. And we've got a lot of different pages. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Reverb Nation. You can find us on YouTube. And that's about it for now. But there is going to be a Stepchild.com coming out in about a month from now.
Nice. Hey, man, one more time, shout out to everybody in the band, man. Mention their names.
Nick Ruiz, the badass guitar player that is just a freaking monster.
Fuck yeah.
Billy Cannon on drums. Nick Ruiz on lead guitar and rhythm guitar. I do a little guitar on the side as well. And then Danibus Devi is our monster bass player, and that is Stepchild.
And they all fucking rock and roll right here on Steele Savage Radio. Hey, brother, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to me tonight on the Tuesday Rewind. I really appreciate it. Much love going out to you and the boys in the band and Stepchild, man. So take us out on this next tune, brother.
This is Balls Out by Stepchild.
Steel Savage Radio.
Baby.
Crank it up, motherfuckers. It is on.
Balls out. Balls out.
Thanks, brother. Later.
Broadcasting around the world on the World Wide Web. This is Steele Savage Radio.
The wild women, the wild women, the ripping and the tearing, the ripping and the tearing.
The wild women, the wild women, the ripping and the tearing, the ripping and the tearing.
Your #1 internet radio station.
Steele Savage Radio.